Good day, everybody. Welcome to my minimalist and/or Ironman guide for the Twin Furies. This is typically considered one of the easiest bosses at God of War's Dungeon 2. However, especially if you're an Ironman or a low-level player, the barrier to entry is a little bit high, and the mechanics are a little bit intimidating. But once you get used to it, it really is one of the easiest bosses that you can take down at God of War's Dungeon 2 and start getting some good loot from. The main thing about the Twin Furies is that their mechanics are a little bit tricky, like I mentioned, and they can hurt you a lot if you don't handle them properly, but their auto attacks and other basic attacks do very little damage, so you can skate by pretty easily the variety of methods without eating any food at all. So without further ado, let's just get into it. To clarify, this is not a minimalist guide in the sense of how to do this boss with minimal gear. This is a guide for the minimal gear that I think you'll need to have a good time here. And with the setup that I'll show you, you should be seeing kills around 2.5 minutes. So the first hard requirement, and I'm going to say that at this level that you can see here, which is about tier 75 armor, tier 80 maybe, and tier 85 weapons, I think the only way to do this comfortably is with magic and with Animate dead. So that means having the City of Santistan complete, and even more ideally, being able to use Exsanguinate for extra damage. You'll notice that I presently don't have the level required to do Exsanguinate, but I'm using a super magic potion and just using it anyways. This is because Exsanguinate has that little effect, if you don't already know, where it builds stacks and increases the damage of your basic abilities by up to 12%, which is huge. Animate dead is the more important part here, as if you're wearing magic tank armor, that severely reduces the damage you take and buffs your defense quite a bit. I have tried this run without Animate dead, and it's very bad. Animate dead is especially useful here because it reduces damage more for lesser damaging hits than it does for higher damaging hits, and most of the hits you'll take during this fight are just repetitive small hits, so it reduces a ton of the damage. So I'm going to say that is a hard requirement for this fight until you get higher tier stats and gear. Alongside that, there is decent magic armor. You'll notice my armor is a mix of Sea Singers, which is tier 85, and Ganodermic, which is tier 75. The important part is that it must be tank armor for Animate dead to work. I think you could probably pull this off in Ahrim. Weird pronunciation. Anyways, I think you could pull it off with that armor as well, since it's tank armor, but you will take a little bit more damage. I strongly suggest no less than tier 85 weapons. You can see that with my even tier 95 prayers and super magic potion here, I still splash quite a bit with tier 85. So if you're an iron account, you can try this with your Sun Spear or a tier 80 other weapon, but I think you'll have a worse time. That leads me nicely into the fact that I have tier 95 prayer. This is a soft requirement that helps a lot, but I don't think at this level, I don't think it's a hard requirement for this fight, because if you don't have Soul Split and don't have the tier 95 combat boosting prayers, I believe you can get away with this fight by using the Vampyrism aura and deflection prayers. That's a little bit more tricky since Nemora and Avarice hit you with different styles, melee and ranged. But I think with the mix of Animate dead and that, you'll be fine. The last soft requirement I want to state here is having the World Wakes complete for Sunshine. Especially with this boss fight more than others, there are parts where Nemora and Avarice can take double damage, or technically even 4 times normal damage. I'll explain later, but having Sunshine active for those portions of the quest, boss fight, is very helpful and can save you a lot of food and time. Now let's walk through the mechanics if this is a new boss fight to you. I'll actually show you a run through where I messed up a few of the mechanics so you can see how to handle it if you do the same, because if you're not used to it yet, you likely will. So the very first mechanic you'll see is that after one auto attack, the gray one, I forgot her name, will run to the sides of the arena and start running across in a line. You need to move out of the way pretty much immediately. So as soon as she flies to the edge of the arena, you need to move out of her line of fire, line of running immediately, otherwise she will just snag you. This deals a lot of damage and pushes you around, so it's annoying and will cause you to eat, probably. Next, after she's done, and you'll notice that she alternates directions, so one time she'll run north-south, one time she'll run east-west, then just oscillate there. The next mechanic is where Nemora, the red one, will go to a random part of the arena, and you'll have a few seconds to run and get under her or close to where she's standing, because she will start raining blades, knives, whatever they are, that do very fast range damage to you. So it's an easy mechanic to dodge. You just need to run and stand near her while this mechanic is going on. Meanwhile, the other one, the gray one, will attack you, and you can just attack her and deal with that. After that's done, and after a few more auto attacks, the final mechanic before they rotate them all again is that they will both go to the center and charge up this big bang beam. So this is the part where there's a few things. Don't stand in the fire. It deals a lot of damage to you. You'll receive small damage no matter where you're standing throughout this part, but that's okay. Through here, typically players use a halberd and use melee weapon here because you can stand in a spot and hit both of them at the same time. But for the purposes of this guide, where we assume you don't have a high level halberd yet, we deal with magic best we can. So make use of chain here as much as you can. But the more important thing to mention is that this is the part of the fight where they take double damage while they're charging up this beam. So leverage that. This is when you drop Sunshine, or maybe the tidal wave one. Sorry, I forgot the name. But this is where you leverage that. Now, once the beam is done charging, once the little countdown bar is done going, you'll want to surge very quickly to the edge of the arena, or else you'll get hit for about 4,500 damage. That's even with Animate dead. Higher level accounts can deal with this boss before they even get to this big bang phase, or finish them off during it since they take so much damage. But for an account at this level with this gear, you'll probably need to go through all these mechanics about twice. With the way I've been running here, I am able to kill them during the second Big Bang charge beaming. So that's it. That's all their mechanics. One thing I really suggest is having Sunshine and the tidal wave not on auto revolution, but have those hotkeyed, because it will help you a lot and save you a ton of time to drop those at just the right moment. I hope this guide helps you. I hope it helps you if you're lower level, or if this is your first time doing this boss, as you'll be forced to walk through all the mechanics and get used to them, and as you level up, get better gear, get better used to the mechanics, you'll be able to do this faster and faster and better and better. One final thing that's important to mention that I forgot is that these two share a health pool. So they each have technically 250,000 HP, but you only need to deal a total of 200,000 damage to both of them to end the fight. So technically they have the same amount of health as the other bosses in this dungeon. So if your stats and gear are a little bit better for melee, you can totally leverage a halberd and sweep both of them at the same time for extra damage. Otherwise, use chain. If you're using range, obviously ricochet and area attacks like that. Try to group them so that fire breath hits both of them at the same time, and use strategies like that to hit them both for up to double damage at certain points. If you like this kind of video and this kind of content, please subscribe and like, and I'll have more for you. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.